Hello everybody, I'm going to say I'm backstage at the US National Bonsai Exhibition, but I'm not, I'm front of stage now. Just about in a few minutes to start to do my bonsai demonstration here this afternoon, and we're going to be working on this Hinoki Cypress tree. Just want to talk to you a little bit about it before people start filtering in and chairs start filling up. It's one that's come from Russell Martin down in Memphis. It's had a little bit of work on it maybe a few years ago, so this is a secondary working of this tree, a restyling, a refinement of this tree. A lot of the trees here today have undergone many years, decades of refinement to get them to show condition. So bonsai is not always about the initial styling. You know, I know you have seen me and you've seen other artists take a tree, a raw material, and do that first transition. And in some ways, I understand that can often seem more dramatic, but it's not just about that, it's about the ongoing work. So what I'm going to try and focus on in this demonstration is some of the ongoing work, the refinement, to get a tree like this and possibly move it on so that in years to come, it could even feature at a show like this. So it's about 70-80 centimetre tall Hinoki. Quite heavy trunk, nice flaky bark, got a little bit of buttress at the base here, quite good. And the good thing with this is it has got growth quite a long way back on the branch. They can get a bit long and leggy, and this one hasn't done yet, so that's good. Also the branches on this look are not too thick, so these still have, they're not hugely flexible, but they have enough flexibility in them. If we were looking at this tree in 5 years' time, it'd be a lot more difficult to achieve what we're going to try and achieve today. So it's only like an hour and a half demonstration, so we're going to have to work fairly quick. If you watched the videos before, you know that I do work quite quickly anyway. So we're going to see if we can get it trimmed, wired, styled, and into shape and position. So we're going to do some more recording as the demonstration goes on. I just wanted to give you a little insight to show you what we're hoping to achieve, and catch the rest of it a bit later. Thank you very much. Like this, just spindly. I'm not going to wait 10 years for that to become anything. Just get rid of it. There's another one here.
Wait 10 years?
That's kind of a bit weak. We might keep a little bit of that. Might just fill in a little bit. So a lot of this sort of dead stuff, bits where it's been trimmed in the past, but it's not been neatened up very much. Let's see if we can't just work our way along the branch. And doing this work now is going to pay dividends in like 20 minutes or so when we start wiring the tree, because it means we can get the wire through the branches much quicker and more effectively. We don't want to be trapping any branches or any foliage against the branches, so it's worth spending this bit of effort just going through, trimming out the growth. And at the moment this is just done, I just do this on a branch by branch. So we made a cement fondue slab to put it on. So it was on a 7-foot slab, and for the support for the slab we've got an old aluminium ladder. It's quite similar to an aluminum ladder. I'm bilingual. So we've got an aluminium ladder, 7-foot ladder, and built a chicken wire cage around it, and all the fiberglass matting and cement fondue, and made this slab. And the tree grew on that for like 20 years. It was a real nice tree. It was in my father's collection. It wasn't in that book, but it might have featured in some other books that we worked on. But because it was on a slab and it was a quite a thirsty tree over the years, it did suffer a little bit, a couple of hot summers, and probably didn't get real struggle to keep the water into that raft of the slab. In here, just some of these tips. You need to try and taper the top of the tree in a little bit more, so a little bit of precision, pruning. Again, be real careful not to put a shear across the growth too much. Now this is quite right, so another little bit halfway down here. Start up here. Take this piece of wire along that. this section. Just use those wire scissors. I use them a lot to just twist the end of the wire. I find it works quite well.
I'm going to drop that there, Corin.
Okay. So these next two are the ones that we said that this has got to come forward into here. This has got to go down and drop to the left. So that's they're a bit more substantial. So we'll step up and use a bit of 6mm wire. Cut it with our wire cutters that cut up to 3mm wire. So what we'll probably do, we'll come off this one, but we'll roll it up the trunk and onto this branch, and then we'll come off this one, roll it up and onto this one. So something like this. Around here.
That's a 6 wire, right?
This is 6mm. That kind of, I've got some 8mm aluminum wire. One of the importers in the UK, he said, "Oh, Corin, you've got some big trees. I bought some 8mm wire." And I stupidly bought like 20 coils off him. And I've got a friend that works for me. He's got some big trees as well. He's a strong guy. I says, "Dave, I've got some 8mm wire. You can use it on some of your pines." So he went around the back of the nursery to work on some of his trees. Yeah, some heavy branches he wanted to move, and so how did he get on? He says, "It's not very good." So what do you mean? I said, "Well, I can bend the 8mm wire and I can bend a branch. But once I put the 8mm wire on the branch, I can't bend either of them." Yeah. So I've still got 19 coils of 8mm wire. So if any of you, I know it's all bigger and better in America, if any of you got some big trees and need some 8mm wire, yeah, I might be able to post you some over, because I'm not going to use it. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but it's a bit heavy duty. 6mm not too bad though, is it? It's manageable. So let's get that up to here, just onto this fork where it splits. Just drop a turn round there, and then cut that off there. And then let's get another piece on. The other piece is going to go from here. Roll it up under this wire, round this side and onto here. That's going to start just here on this one. And come up here. Follow that first wire just over there, round that stump, like there, onto this. And bring this one down here, just rattle that along. Splits into two, just go along the thickest branch, bring it out along here, like so. And again, to manipulate the tip of that wire, just use your wire scissors, but just hold them soft, just to turn that over. Makes it so much easier. Of course, you can use bonsai pliers as well, if you prefer. But I just get in the habit of using these. It saves putting one tool down, picking another tool up. Bit of a helping hand with this thick wire, like that. Okay. And this one's literally out on a limb. Just get a piece of wire for that. And we can just drop that in. Actually, we cut a longer piece. We can drop in along this branch here. On this branch, just a little bit here, similar sort of thickness. So this is a little bit thin for this branch, but we're going to run it along down this shoot, because again it splits into two, so we'll fire that along like that, and then we'll get What size was that? Get the next size up. Chop it across the back here, same again. Finish it off like that. Then back to this one. So in the 35 years I've been doing bonsai, pretty much did bonsai since I left school. Grew up on a family business. My father started the bonsai business off in 1978. He was a big believer in child labour, so I did start fairly early, working on trees and bits and pieces like that, and then so I've grown up with bonsai, and a lot of people say, did you always want to be a bonsai artist? Well, of course, it's such a niche thing. You're not going to drop into it unless you sort of come across bonsai, are you? And you know, I probably wouldn't have done it. I would have done something else. But growing up on a bonsai nursery and enjoying that, I think if people ask me if I always wanted to do bonsai, I think initially it was a strange question for me to kind of answer. I think it's a bit like asking a farmer's son if he always wanted to be a farmer. Yeah, if you've grown up on a farm and you're 11-year-old and your legs are long enough to drive a tractor, guess what you're doing? You're driving a tractor, aren't you? And if you're short like me and your legs aren't long enough to drive a tractor, you get a smaller tractor. Yeah? I never did get my tractor. I'm not bitter. Yeah. But yeah, so growing up on a bonsai nursery, you know, back in the day when I was maybe 12 or something, it was the same time Karate Kid film came out, and so all of a sudden my classmates and people sort of knew what bonsai were. A lot of people got into bonsai then, and to me it wasn't a massive deal because I've just got a load of them in my back garden anyway. So a little bit of a stub there, wasn't very nice. See if we can just tidy up this bit of growth here. So I started working quite a bit initially with Satsuki azaleas, mainly because I was a kid and my dad realised he could just get me taking cuttings of Satsuki azaleas as part of the child work programme. And over the years, worked with so many different trees. I maintain a private bonsai collection of my own, maybe 150, maybe 200 trees in that. I've got a bit of a thing for some types of Japanese maple, lots of maple cultivars in the collection: Soryu, Kotahime, Sagan, Katsura, Shishikashiras. So a nice range of maple cultivars I'm quite fond of. In recent years, I've gone more to trying to attain a collection of, or trying to attain trees in the collection, evergreens, but more unusual evergreens. Basically, if it's an evergreen, it's not a pine or a juniper, I'm quite interested in it. Yeah, I've got pines, I've got junipers, we've all got pines and junipers, they're brilliant, but you know, from being in bonsai so long, I get more excited about sort of different trees you perhaps don't see. So I've got enough trees now to put on an exhibition of, I don't know what I'll call it. I might call it an evergreen exhibition, no pines and junipers allowed. And basically spruce, hemlock, mountain hemlock, western hemlock, eastern hemlock, spruce, hemlock and cedar, I think. I particularly like cedar. I know you confuse me a bit because you call Thuya eastern white cedar. So when I mention cedar, I mean like cedrus, like Atlas cedar, cedar Lebanon, deodar cedar, Cedrus brevifolia, and I really like working with those trees. If you one of the few people that follow me on YouTube, you'll notice I do quite a few videos on cedars. I've got another 2 to work on, and I thought I can't video them because it'll be like the Cedar Bonsai channel. Yeah? Try and work on something a little bit different, but I just love them. I love working on them. They're so nice. I've got a couple of big 2 or 3 cedar Lebanons. One of them's I've got to rewire it when I get back. A nice job for sort of autumn, October time. Once trees are slowed down a little bit and I get a little bit of time to work on trees. It's a day and a half job wiring that tree. I'm thinking of taking it to an exhibition next year, so that'll be nice to get that worked on and underway. Of course, I'm very lucky that I've also got still quite a few of my father's trees which are invaluable to me. We like to take them to shows and work on them. And I just recently bought a maple tree, very nice specimen Japanese maple that a chap offered me for sale, and he bought it off my father 45 years ago. It was about $6, little sprout, yeah, maybe it was like 1/4 of an inch thick, and he's had it 45 years. He said, I bought it off your dad for like £5 in 1978. I said, I'll double your money. That's a fair offer. It's a fair offer, isn't it? Anyway, I had to do a bit better than that. So I bought this tree, stunning. It's about 80 centimetres tall, nibari like that, beautiful trunk, lovely movement. And but even more surprisingly, he got all photographs of it. So I bought this tree, and it came with 45 years worth of service history. You don't get that very often. So I got a photograph of when it was £5, 1978, one in 81, one in 84, and it just progresses. It got really good until 2010. We had a really cold winter, and a lot of trees did suffer, and it dropped 3 branches in that year. So it took a little bit of a step backwards in quality, and I need to now get it back on track. I mean, it is a beautiful tree, but I just need to wire a couple of branches around to fill in to make up for the ones that it unfortunately lost in that cold weather. So that's going to be a future video. I'm going to do something on that. It's just looking back through those photos, incredible. Somebody said, are you going to sell it? So what's the point of selling it? How often is that going to happen, that I get a tree that somebody bought off my father 45 years ago? Just magic. You know, that's what I like with bonsai. You know, you say to a beginner, if I've had that tree for 20 years, like, you must be patient. I'm not really that patient. But then again, 20 years in bonsai isn't really a long time. Always looking for shortcuts and things to do, you know, to move trees on. This branch here is not very good. So this one's growing out a knuckle, and it's got this foliage on it and that foliage above it. It's at the back of the tree. So that formation that you see, you don't actually see how ugly it is, but it is there. So does it bother us enough to cut it off? But if without it, structurally this tree will be better. But at the moment, I kind of need that foliage. Do I need this foliage? It'd be nice to have it. I think we could do without this one, and we'll use these 2, but I won't do without that other one. But I'll be too quick to cut everything off. We can take that out there, and then in future, next styling, this might come out. These 2 want wiring the tips of that. So a bit of 2.5mm wire should sort those out. So back down to here, get this one wired up. So for me, for first 15 years of my bonsai life, I didn't really have many bonsai. don't get me wrong, I worked every day at a bonsai nursery and I got 2,000 trees to look after. So they were like, I was busy, but I didn't have any of my own. And then, you know, so often you work on a tree and you think, oh, I don't really want to sell that, and you keep it and then keep another one, and before you know it, you've got a bonsai collection. And that's an indulgence for me. It's, I do it, my father did it before me, and I also do it for the trees I've got, to maintain my interest in bonsai. You know, it's all, I do all sorts of work at Greenwood. You know, if we had delivery of indoor trees and we had 1,500 Chinese elms turn up, I've got to trim my fair share, or maybe somebody else's share, yeah? But I'll muck in and do it, but it's not ever so exciting trimming Chinese elms. So if I trim those Chinese elms and I sell a few of them, I can buy a nice tree that I do like. It's like a friend of mine owns a bicycle shop. I'm into mountain bikes, and he's like a qualified mechanic. He's been doing it for years, and you go in there just before Christmas and he's fitting a little white basket on a little kid's Barbie bike, yeah? And I just wind him up. I'm like, how many years training did you do to do that? But you know, that's his bread and butter, isn't it? You don't go in every day and he's working on something real nice. Every so often he's screwing baskets on kids' bikes. And same with us, with Chinese elms and things like that. That's your bread and butter. And you work on those trees for beginners. And then you might be able to buy something nice. We've got a lovely display of trees around the place, and we're always trying to show that on some of the videos that we do. Little walk around videos around the nursery, and you'll spot little trees in the background that you haven't spotted before, and I get people sending like screenshots in saying, oh, at 7.5 minutes into that video, that tree over your left shoulder, is that for sale? You know, what is it? That sort of thing. So it's not a hard sale, but you know, sometimes it's trees for sale, sometimes it's not. But it's so much easier to get info out to people nowadays. We have about a 50-50 split between what viewers in the States and in the UK. So I'll tell you a thing that made me giggle. My best YouTube comment on the channel is also my worst YouTube comment on the channel. From some guy over here. There was a comment on one of my videos, early video, that said, dude, if we were in prison, I'd protect you in the showers. I took it as a compliment. If I thought about it, it became a bit more sinister. So I was a bit nervous about being here today working on this tree, not because I'm on stage working on a tree, but I thought this guy would be sat in the front row. So I'm keeping my eye out in case you're that guy that's going to protect me in the showers, yeah. Just in one hit, the best and worst comment ever. Brilliant. Genius. If it wasn't for what he said, I'd say I'd like to meet him, but that's funny. Right. So just going to finish off. This is Jim, you back? No? Does this turntable go down anymore? Oh yeah, a little bit. That'll help me reach the top of the tree a little bit more. Not got my heels on, so that's the best I can do. Little bit of a cluster of growth in here that just wants taking out. Might have missed that first time round. Little bit at the tip here. Let's try and shorten that back out into here. Just nice. Wire that through like that. So thickest branch here. That's what's come down, tilted into here. So that's quite a springy little branch. So let's get a bit of 3.5mm wire on that. See if we can, nothing else around there of that same sort of thickness. So let's tag it onto this one. A couple of loops around there. So I think shortly after I finish my demo, we're going to have the auction, aren't we? Yeah. I think if I only get this half finished, it might go for half price. So I've been told I've got to finish it. So that'll be okay here. Quite a few up the top. Let's see if we can get these sorted. We'll have time, we'll get a bit of wire on it, and then we can have a look at positioning some of this. This is going to be a bit of a nuisance, this branch. So let's go back to some of these finer ones further down. There's two shoots there growing together. So see if we can't sort of split them up. Come here to fan those out a little bit. Just here. And then through there, round that tip. Like so. We've had a very challenging couple of years in the UK, weather-wise. We've had, this year's been crazy. Last year we had a summer. That's the first time in years. And we got to like 42 degrees, which is crazy. And summer doesn't happen in England. After 2 days of that, everyone started moaning about it. We spend all year moaning we've not had a summer. Once we've had 2 days of it, we've had enough. And we had a winter that was generally not too cold. We normally leave all our trees outside. We can leave Aesopom autumns outside. Most of the time we can leave tridents outside. But we had like a little short, sharp, -8, -10, some places -12, just about 10 days before Christmas last year. And that did make a lot of trees struggle. It might not have entirely been that, but we've got some trees, people had some trees that were a bit stressed because they've been through a hot summer that they weren't normally used to. That's weakened them, got them a little bit upset. Then along came that cold weather and it just made matters worse. Then we had a couple of frosts this spring, so challenging. This year, June, we had a little bit of sun, not much. July was absolutely shocking. So July was just cold weather, a lot of wet weather, not really very good at all. So at the moment, just when I left last week, I've got Japanese maples in full autumn colour. I've got a Japanese maple, it's normally in good autumn colour about the 10th of October. This year, 31st of August. Just absolutely ridiculous. If we put it up on Instagram and Facebook, it's a stunning tree, beautiful colour, but what's it doing at the end of August, going into autumn? So a lot of the spindles have gone autumn colour and dropped. Some of the Japanese maples have. Just shouldn't really be happening. So they're a little bit messed up. I suppose the only good thing is they're going to get a hell of a rest over winter if they've gone into autumn in September, beginning of September. So maybe nature will work itself out. They'll have a good year next year. It just remains to be seen. Just a little thick branch here. Try and get something onto that. We've got a little space. We can utilise that one. And then these, a lot of stuff here that just wants a bit of 2mm wire on it. A little bit of clutter on this branch. I might have missed it first time around. Let's just give that a bit of a trim out. This section here and this tip along here. So, down to the 2mm wire on this upper section. We've got about 8 branches on there, so 4 bits of wire should see them done. I was doing an intro course once, teaching about 10 people, and I'd mentioned that you wire 2 branches with 1 piece of wire, and one lady took me a bit more literally than I expected. And so what I mean is, you get 1 piece of wire, you wire 2 branches with it. She just got 2 branches. Yeah, got another 2 branches. Yeah. I was down the end of the room. I thought, that tree down there looks a bit weird. I just better go and check, see what she's doing. She's right. She was wiring 2 branches together, all right. And I've had to, you know, get a piece of wire, wire 2 branches with it. And somebody said, can I wire 3 branches with 1 piece of wire? I said, yeah, just get me a bit of wire with 3 ends on, I'll show you how to do it. That didn't go down well either. So just trying to finish up these up here at the top. Just, again, try and be efficient, not rushing it too much. Just try and get through this foliage where we can. Ultimately, once we've positioned these, we're going to need an odd bit more wire on here and there just to pull little errant shoots into place, but we should be able to get most of it sorted. Now, this is a knuckle in here. This section, there's a bit just here. We left it originally, we cut an ugly bit off, but it's still on a little knuckle by itself, so I think we're not going to need it. See if we can't just chisel that back a little bit more. While we're here in the vicinity with a branch cutter, just chase that back into here. So let's go off the back of that, this branch just here, just bring it up, round, through, under, up there, up to that thicker section at the top. We're going to bring it up here, and then we're going to pop it along this little shoot just here, just through the foliage, nice and neat. There we go, pop it through there, like that. And then back down to this one. And once this is done, we'll start at the bottom of the tree, position the branches, a little bit of pruning, working our way up to the top of the tree. There we go, little section there. Same here. The actual top of this tree was in a bit more of a state than the bottom branches, to be fair. They were a bit more of a clutter, you know, there was a bit more, what's its most vigorous part of the plant. So there's more growth in that sort of wanted dealing with and addressing. I suppose since its potential first styling, there's just more growth has appeared in this upper section that hasn't been dealt with. So we're down to 2mm wire now. Try and finish this off, get through here. Like that. Another couple on this section. They're a bit thinner, so I might have to do that with a bit of 1.5mm wire. This one just here is a bit of a nuisance. Some other straggly ones here. There's 3 of them. We need to at least get one of them wired. They're all going quite close together. Might be able to just distribute them a bit more. So I've had people working with me in the studio. I get a few people book like one-to-one tuition, and I work fairly quick. And I had a guy come over the other year. He only lived local. He was only like 5 miles away. He turned up for a 4-hour session. That's into there. So some of these that are flexible, put a little bit of movement in them. Drop this one back into here a little bit. Shorten some of these tips back. Again, just bear in mind the density on these low ones. A little bit off here. Bit springy, this branch here on the left. Just pop another piece of, put a bit of 6mm on it, put a bit of 5mm on next to it. Might just be enough to bolster it. Drop this foliage back in here. So this one here, just bring it forward a little bit, particularly where it gets thinner here, more flexible. Bring this secondary section around. Gets a little bit wispy going down, snip those off. Try and keep some cloud effect on the upper section, but just trim some of the shagginess away. Bring this one up into here. This one here is not wired, but it's not in bad position where it's laying. Same with that one there. Just take a few of the tips out of that a little bit. Back round to the front towards me. This wants to come down. This branch is going to come down. Twist a little bit. And then these secondary shoots here can face up the front of the branch. This one here wants rotating a little bit, so use some pliers, just twist that around here. Just lay those others in there a little bit soft. And this one here. It's still a bit flexible, this one here. Just bring that into here. That's quite full on that tip. Shorten them back. You get away with shearing a little bit on the underside, where you're not going to notice it so much. Be a bit more precise on the top of the branches. Up to this one. Just work away at the front of the tree. This was a bit ugly, but if we spin it round, so we're looking at the foliage and we're not actually looking at the branch, and we can get away with keeping it. It'll just fit in, do a nice little job just there. This one here, same sort of thing, spin this round into here. When we get this round, it'll fit in just here. And then this section over there. Going down that little flimsy bit. There's always little bits, isn't there, when you're doing something like this and you're wiring it and you think, oh, I'll get away without wiring that bit. And this is just at this stage where you think, I won't get away without wiring that bit. So then you've got two options, haven't you? You know what they are, don't you? One of them is wire it, the other one's cut it off. Yeah. So we do a bit of both. Do a bit of both. Start working the way to the top of the tree a little bit, and some of these tips, just a bit of pinching out. The top wants a bit more developing. It's very juvenile, this apex. There's not one sort of definitive sprout. There's just a cluster of them. Try and make more of a soft, rounded apex out of those. Just bring this one into here, shorten this back. Those two little ones flopping about at the back, they've got to be sorted out. So that's this one here, and this secondary shoot here. See if we can get a little wire just rattled along those, nice and steady. Just one here, and then here's the other one. So that's going to drop in. So we'll drop in just here. A little bit long, this one. If you put some movement in it, try and make it go back further into the tree like this. Just shorten it back in there. Just drop that down. Now that's got a wire on it. This one's a bit weird. Drop that down into there to fill in. It'll do a nice job there. Make a little space for that one here. just a little one here, just a wispy one on this right hand side up here as well, and sort those out. This one, just tag it onto this one here. So as I said before I started, this tree had one working on it probably 2 or 3 years ago, like some sort of initial styling. The trunk line of the tree I thought was pretty nice, fairly elegant. Wanting a second styling on the branches. Some of the lower branches we had a bit of a problem with, some ugly ones, some flimsy ones, that sort of thing. But a second styling, just as important as the first, to bring the tree on, refinement of foliage pads, and then concentrating on which branches we actually need, sort of going forward as a style of the tree. We've separated these lower ones, they move fairly well, you know, without the use of any guy wires or anything, which was always an option, but we haven't had to use them in this case. This one wants to be about here. Just a little bit of movement on some of these upper sections. So fill out a little bit there at the back, which at the top, that's not a problem. A little bit hanging down just here. Here. This one here hasn't been done. So this branch here I've wired, but it was still straight. And there's never any point wiring a branch and then just not bending it. I've had people over the years that I've wired my tree and they think they've started because they've wired it, and all they've done is put the wire on. The wire is just the facilitator, just allows you to shape it. Worse than that, I had a lady once come into the shop, she said, I want some wire for my bonsai. And I said, oh, what sort of size, what sort of thickness branches are you wiring? She said, why does that make any difference? I said, well, because you use a thinner wire for your thinner branches and your thicker wire for thicker branches. You know, with aluminium, it's probably about half as thick as the branch that you're bending. She said, I'm not bending the branches. Well, you said you wanted to wire it. She said, yeah, I just want to wire it to make it look more authentic. I said, oh, you need 2mm then. Strange. Right, so just a little bit here. This is a little bit shaggy in this section here. Got just a bit too much length on this, just here. This little bit growing up across there. So now going forward with this tree is more control over the foliage. Yeah, just to let it bush out, don't let it go crazy. We need to put some wound sealant on these cuts. I haven't got any kicking around, but there'll be some around here somewhere. So we've took out a lot of the faults of the tree. We've retained the elegance of the trunk. We've kept the better branches, the better structure branches. We've got rid of crossing branches and bad foliage. Initially, fairly straight on, we made the decision to go in and trim each branch for structure, putting out the bad bits, leaving the better bits, and then with the help of wire, getting it all positioned and into place. And just a quick reworking. It's an hour and a half ago I started working on this tree. It's undergone a fair transformation in that length of time. No doubt it's going to be auctioned either later or tomorrow, I'm not sure. You'll have to ask somebody who knows what they're doing about that, and that's not me. The front round here, we've got a wiring round here on this side up to mark our front. So I just like to just have a look, double check for that. Maybe this one. So just as I finish up, I was, you know, really pleased to come over, do a little bit of work for you. Really been a great morning, great day for me, chatting to many of you earlier, and no doubt I'll see some of you later tomorrow. I'd like to really thank you very much for watching and listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show, and thank you very much.
Do you need a coffee?
Huh?
Do you need a coffee?
Yeah, like a soup, something hot.
Yeah.
Something like that.
in this heat to cool you down.
It's warming up into it.
It's a bit too much. That was a good job, that, mate. We'll just dive in and we'll turn it. I'll walk round it.
Hang on, these guys are clicking. Yeah.
I'll step out of the way.
And we'll come round.
Got your photo at the side of it?